A travel with air and presentation. 9 days in Mexico, my unforgettable experience. Join me for a scenic ride through northern Mexico's most rugged and beautiful landscapes in the Copper Canyon on El Cheap, the Copper Canyon train. Whoa! That was the most intelligent expression of awe from my mouth while standing on the edge of a 400-foot cliff overlooking Barranca del Copper, also known as the Copper Canyon. It's difficult to find better words when you're in the moment. We'd been traveling by train through the Copper Canyon, one of Mexico's greatest natural treasures, and the scenery was spectacular. But the views here in the little town of Divisadero were my favorite by far. Mexico's Copper Canyon dominates the southern landscape of Chihuahua, the country's largest state. You really can't appreciate how vast and remote this area is until you see it in person. Cheap train Copper Canyon, Mexico. The Copper Canyon train, in fact, the famous Grand Canyon in Arizona, isn't quite as grand. Mexico's Copper Canyon is actually both bigger and deeper than its famous American cousin. Even better, there is a first-class railroad that takes you through this rough wilderness too. Affectionately called El Cheap, this train journey through the Copper Canyon was a highlight of my recent trip to northern Mexico. Starting in the city of Chihuahua, we chugged along across the desert before slowly climbing into Mexico's towering Sierra Madre Mountains. El Cheap stops at many small towns over the course of its itinerary. One such town was Creel, the big tourism hub of the region. Creel has a whopping population of 5,000. It also marks the highest point of the train journey at just under 8,000 feet. Beginning its life as a logging town, these days Creel is full of colorful craft shops, small family-owned restaurants, local cowboys, and Tarahumara Indians trying to earn a meager living. The Tarahumara people, known locally as the Raramuri, live throughout these canyons in small wooden shacks and natural caves. They currently number about 50,000, and most still practice a traditional semi-nomadic farming lifestyle. Tarahumara women sell beautiful handmade baskets and other crafts to help support their families. Both the men and women are famous for their superhuman long-distance running abilities, as described in Christopher McDougall's best-selling book Born to Run. Copper Canyon people train through Copper Canyon in Mexico, diverse natural landscapes. After a night in Creel, we jumped back onto El Cheap for some of the most breathtaking canyon scenery yet. From the train's vestibules between cars, you can lean out and breathe the fresh mountain air. It's surprisingly chilly at the higher elevations too. They get snow here in the winter. Because I was traveling as part of a tour with authentic Copper Canyon, we were always notified when the best views were approaching. The train stopped in the town of Divisadero for 20 minutes, so everyone could drink in the most incredible view of the whole trip. Next, it was on to Bajuchivo, and then to Temris. This leg of the journey entails even more mountain tunnels, thick forests, tall bridges, sheer drops, and a few scenic waterfalls as icing on the cake. Cheap train Copper Canyon, Mexico. Where to stay in the Copper Canyon. Creel is the town I spent the most time in while passing through the Copper Canyon. If you're wondering where to stay in the Copper Canyon area, here are my recommendations. Copper Canyon, Temris, train travel in northern Mexico. The people you encounter on this trip are a big part of its appeal. It's the old ranchers on horseback, indigenous Tarahumara women in colorful dresses, and groups of waving local children that really made it special. We disembarked in the tiny village of Temris and jumped in a truck to explore mountain roads, but the full train route continues another 130 miles to Las Mochas in the Pacific Ocean. The complete 400 miles, 16-hour train journey from Chihuahua to Las Mochas boasts 37 bridges and 87 tunnels along a rugged landscape that makes you wonder how difficult it must have been to build a railroad track here in the first place. A true marvel of engineering for the early 2020s. Riding El Cheap through northern Mexico's beautiful Copper Canyon was easily one of the best train experiences I've ever had. Rent a car. Discover Cars is a great site for comparing car prices to find the best deal. They search both local and international rental companies. Book accommodation. Booking.com is my favorite hotel search engine. Or rent local apartments on Airbnb. $35 discount your trip. Don't forget travel insurance. I'm a big fan of World Nomads for short-term trips. Protect yourself from possible injury and theft abroad. Read more about why you should always carry travel insurance. Thereafter I went through canyons to Cerveza Hall in Mexico. Even if you're not old enough to remember when Mexico's Gringo Trail was a rite of passage, you can still be gripped by nostalgia for a train system that got you from El Norte to El Sur for $50. But the truth is, the trains were slow, almost always late, and, by the 1990s, falling into disrepair and increasingly beset by crime. In the 2020s, the government sold all the railroads to private companies, which promptly pulled the plug on almost all passenger services. What's left is a mix of day trips and longer luxury tours aimed at tourism rather than transportation, including the Copper Canyon train through the Sierra Madre, often called the most scenic rail journey in the world. Copper Canyon. The Ferrocarril Chihuahua Pacifico, known to U.S. tourists as the Copper Canyon train and to Mexicans as El Cheap, links Las Mochas on the Pacific with the inland city of Chihuahua. With 408 miles of serpentine track boring through 86 tunnels and crossing 37 bridges, it is a masterpiece of engineering. It even includes one tunnel with a 180-degree turn followed by a bridge with a 90-degree turn. Its pinnacle, after an 8,000-foot climb past mountain lodges and cobblestone colonial towns, is a masterpiece of nature, the Barrancas del Caber, a series of canyons 4 times bigger than the Grand Canyon, and the domain of the reclusive Tarahumara, the least westernized of all Mexico's indigenous peoples. Tour operators such as Canyon Travel, Grand Lux Rail Journeys, and Trains Unlimited run luxury trips in private cars attached to the Chihuahua Pacific train. You'll pay $900 to $3,600, double occupancy, for a typical 7-day tour that includes most meals, accommodations in lodges, or on the rail car, and sightseeing excursions. Booking directly through the railroad gives you the closest thing left to the old railroad experience, but in modern renovated cars with air conditioning, reclining seats and dining, and bar cars. You can make your own tour, getting off along the way, wherever you like to explore the canyons and stay overnight, then getting back on whenever you like. 2 first-class trains, each with a different schedule of stops, and 2 economy trains depart daily. First-class tickets are 275 to 1,552 pesos, about $26 with many options in between, depending on how far you go before turning back. Economy class costs 143 to 777 pesos, $13.72. Expreso Maya. Panoramic windows surround passengers with jungle views as they clack through Mayo land between Villahermosa and Tabasco State and Chichen Itza in the Yucatan on this luxury tour. The 6-night, 7-day classic tour is $1,995, double occupancy, $1,330 for children 4-11. The 7-night, 8-day Wonders of the Maya tour is $2,165, children $1,395. Both versions stop at Villahermosa, Palenque, Campeche, Uxmal, Mérida, Izamal, and Chichen Itza. The longer tour includes an overnight stay in Chichen Itza and an evening sound and light show at the ruins. You can shave about $75 off the price by ending your tour in Chichen Itza rather than taking the optional transfer to Mérida, Cancun, or the Riviera. air-conditioned rail cars, each decorated in a unique Mayan theme, have seats that recline and swivel. The club car offers table games and talks on Maya culture, and a library is stocked with books on history, archaeology, and customs. Murals in the dining car, which serves four-course gourmet dinners, depict Campeche's early pirate history. Meals and lodging, some nights in hotels, others on board the train, and guided excursions are included in the price. Tequila Express. This route and El Cheap are the last passenger trains surviving from the days of the old government railroad. The Tequila Express boasts modern comfort in 4 air-conditioned coaches with reclining seats and bathrooms, making for a pleasant 9-hour tourist excursion out of Guadalajara. The 1.5-hour section through a rich landscape of blue agave fields, deep red soil, and imposing mountains is enlivened by mariachi music and an open tequila bar. The centerpiece is a visit to San Jose del Refugio in the town of Amatitan, a centuries-old hacienda and distillery. A tequila tasting follows the tour and demonstration of the laborious tequila production process. A full Mexican buffet is served on the grounds, accompanied by Mexican music, songs, folk dances, and charra roping demonstrations. The mariachis keep the music coming until the train pulls back into Guadalajara in the evening. Trains depart at 10:30 a.m. Saturdays and Sundays. Tickets, 850 pesos, $79, for adults, 480 pesos, $45, for kids 5 to 12, are available at the Guadalajara Chamber of Commerce or through Ticketmaster's Mexico outlet. Ticket to Tecate. If beer is your brew, the Pacific Southwest Railway Museum in Campo, San Diego County, has revived a portion of the Tijuana and Tecate Trail line, built as part of the San Diego and Arizona Railway between 1909 and 1919. Monthly excursions cross the border to Tecate, where you're on your own, to explore the plaza and shops, and to seek lunch or dinner in one of the restaurants, food booths, and panaderias. A Tecate brewery tour is included in the price. Tickets, which must be reserved in advance, are $43 for adults, $23 for children 3-12. Tots under 2 ride free on parents' laps. Trains leave at 10:30 a.m., returning to Campo at 4:30 p.m. A tourist train, Tren Turístico del Noreste, started up a few years ago on the Mexican portion, between Tijuana and Tecate, of the same line, but according to natives they are currently not accepting reservations. With what a trip, I guess when next you want to visit Mexico, you will know the interesting places to see and how to play safe. Subscribe and let's do it together again. Very many thanks for watching.